Hello and welcome to the Trish Rock Inspires podcast, where we explore spirituality, intuition, and life so that you can learn a different and greater perspective on who you are, why you are here, and find more meaning and purpose in your life. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. But now, sit back and enjoy this episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Trish Rock Inspires. This is Series 6, Sparking Your Spirit, and I'm super excited today to have a long-time friend of mine, Lorraine Enright from Certitude Life Coaching with us. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Trish. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you here. Now, Lorraine is a passionate and powerful soul identity coach whose authentic approach taps into what lays beneath the surface. Lorraine teaches to reignite one's light inside, connecting to the wisdom in soul, which strengthens foundation of worth, trust, faith within. In doing this, it shows her clients the way forward to living from their brilliance and magnificence and owning that all is within. In all her years of trainings, experience, wisdom, and teachings, Lorraine has been shown and has learned that when it comes to owning our worth, we still have quite a way to go. To be able to trust our path and be led by our innate truth, intuitiveness, and wisdom, we must bring our human and spiritual personalities in alignment as one. That heart is not the only way to connect with soul, especially when living our busy human life. Through her coaching, life success is not about pushing and driving yourself harder. It's about releasing the blocks that restrict you from connecting your mind and heart with soul. It's about living your life better from within with confidence, clarity, and inner bliss. I love that. And as I said in the beginning, we've known each other, gosh, over a decade now, maybe even 12 years. Yeah, a long time. And your work has just gotten more brilliant and more in depth and more clear. And, as we all know, we all live our work as well.
We do.
Lorraine, tell us a little bit about the identity coaching.
The which, sorry?
Identity coaching. Why have you called it that, and what's that all about?
The identity?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I wasn't quite sure I was hearing that. I might need to put some plugs in or something. So sorry. The reason that I've called it the identity is the fact that most of us know our identity. We know our background, our heritage, where we're from, and all sorts of things. But many of us don't actually tap in within ourselves and understand what is within us, like the infinite resourceful filing cabinet that we have within. We have so much information, and when we think about our mind and how that operates, and all the thought patterns we have over our lifetime in there, but then we also have the heart, which is more powerful than the brain and the mind, and yet we probably don't utilize that in itself. But then if you bring that into alignment with soul, wow, what power do we hold within? And hence why I call it the identity. It's within part of our identity, so to speak.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so you help people bring all those parts of themselves together?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And I believe there's a missing link as it comes to bringing those parts together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're very intuitive. And so you probably, like me, get a lot of clients that come to you that aren't trusting that side of themselves too. And so that would be all part of that, really looking at who you really are within here and your soul and your heart. Yeah.
And it's really about understanding that, you know, we came into this earthly plane on the foundation of love. And then, of course, life happens and we have, distorted thoughts patterns and people's perception of things, and we forget about that. We lose that part of ourselves. And then with the outside world being so busy and everything, we need to be able to understand that, well, our worth is what is within us. Nothing determines our worth outside of us. It's purely within us. And we tend to also put trust outside of ourselves and faith. And yet, if we bring them back home and within, and this is where it sort of all intertwines with each other, is that when you bring that back in, you don't have to put it outside, and you don't actually need boundaries, because it's just an innate thing that we do with our true essence of what we resonate and put out there. If the faith is within us, then it's around us. We don't need it to come from outside of us back into us, so to speak, if that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense. And I love how you explained and expressed all of that. Yeah. And what came into my mind was the difference between identity and identity, and the I really being, what we've been trained to do over these thousands of years, and be the ego, be the I, be the physical, and forget about what's in. So it's, it really is going back to who we truly are. Yeah.
Yes. We need to trust ourselves. We need to know that when we're moving forward, even though others do not understand the decisions we make, if we truly are aligned and we're listening, and it might be a challenge even, and you're not sure of how that challenge is going, but when you're trusting within yourself and knowing that whatever I'm doing here, I know it's going to be okay because I trust, then you do create an inner bliss within yourself. You hold no regret. There's no what ifs and maybes, so to speak, because we know we're aligned. We don't have to prove something to someone else. And if they don't understand, that's perfectly okay, as long as we know.
Yeah.
And that's good for our health as well.
Absolutely. And that's a big hurdle, I think, in everyone's lives. I know it's been a hurdle in my life, and the people I work with, and I'm sure you're the same. And to actually, be in that flow and in that alignment, and then take that step forward in that, knowing that perhaps there's people around you that might judge you or criticize you or kind of be projecting their fear onto you. It's a tricky thing. What would your advice be if someone's listening to this, if they're in that position at the moment and they're like, yes, this is what I want to do. But taking that step forward, it's like, oh, when I take that step forward, there's going to be those people who say I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, for me, it's really about, it doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think, because it's your journey. And the interesting part is those people aren't going to be the people that are looking after your health in your body. It's yourself. It's all about yourself. So it's having the courage. It's tapping into that center, our power center, and having the courage to move forward, and letting people know that's perfectly okay that you don't understand. It's perfectly okay. We can still chat, we can still, do things together. It's my journey.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful, and great advice to everyone who's listening. Now, you have a wonderful process that you're going to take us through today. It's called the Clear View Technique. Tell us about it, and you might like to take us through that if you would like to. Yeah.
Well, with the clear view technique, there is part of it where it comes along with the mind as well. So, and it's a visual. So with the clear view technique, it brings you into that meditative state, but we don't have time in our busy day sometimes to do that. So, and, I'm a seasoned meditator, and I know that you are, Trish, as well, but there's times where we don't have the capacity or whatever to bring us quickly into that moment. Absolutely. And yes, we can put hand on heart and feel the joy. Like I say to people when they say to me, I just want to be happy. Well, in any given moment, you can be happy. Think of a time when, or a movie or something made you can be happy, but it's having that lasting inner bliss of being happy and so on. So the mind loves visuals. So the clear view technique actually has a visual for the mind to help it understand, because this is where the faith is. We need the faith of the mind to come into the heart. Yeah. And then when we come into the heart, that's where trust is. That's where we really, are on the foundation of love and the trust. Yeah. And when we can bring that into alignment, then I have a breathing technique that's a little bit disruptive and to what we know. And that then helps our heart and our mind align into that gateway with soul when we come into the solar plexus area, which is where our worth is. So when we can bring that together and use the visual, because the mind does like visuals, then it's familiarizing the brain. It's like everything else. If you do yoga, meditation, you learn to drive a car, you're familiarizing the brain with what you need to do. And this is the same thing with the clear view technique. It's a technique that over practice, because in the beginning you might just have subtle changes, or you may think that there's no change, but there will be, and there is. So yeah, and in that way, because I got it right this time, the going there and looking at that is the visual in a form that the mind sees. So we're looking at soul, the solar plex, the heart, and the third eye, the crown, in that picture.
Right. I love it. It makes total sense, and it makes total sense to me. I'm sure many people who are listening, it makes sense to as well. And often we need that disruption, don't we? Otherwise,
yeah. And the good thing about it, though, is once you really do understand it, and this is why when I work with people, I don't have many programs and things out there. It's 12 months of going through this process. It's 12. It's over the 12 months where, even in the 9th month, there may be something that pops up and so on. We want lasting change. We want you to be able to know that when you go out and you're about to go into a meeting and you're very anxious or in overwhelm, you can do this technique, and the mind and the heart and the body is going to go, oh yeah, I know, and come into soul space.
Right. I love that. How useful. So it's useful for, it's great for achieving a big vision, but also useful in those moments when you really need it the most. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very powerful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And is that something that it's obviously helped you? You do the.
It's helped me. I've been shown and taught this and learnt all these things over the years, and it wasn't until 2020 that I received the message, because I had the diagrams and little pictures, and I kept thinking, oh, what am I doing with this? Even though I was practicing and understanding it, I didn't know in the bigger picture what I was to do with it. And then I received the message in 2020 to say, And it was, I think, April 2020, where I just received the message, Lorraine, the world needs it now. And that's when it came into this particular form here to then bring it out to the world. But I've unlocked things within myself I had no idea were there. No idea whatsoever. And it was, oh my gosh, wow.
Where did that come from?
Where was that hiding? So yeah, it's powerful. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember when you started sharing your drawings and your work, and it was a really exciting time and a lot of movement forward there. And you've got a deck of cards with those now.
Well, I've got 6. I haven't made or finished completing the cards with them, but there are actually in total 8 of them where you have the plain one. But that's the process in that 12-month journey where we look at certain aspects. So we begin with the truth. Gotcha. And there's a code with this one that sits in, that's truth. And so if you truly want to get deep in and know what's there, that's going to go. So it goes the truth, creation, attraction, change, evolve, become, identity. And that's the process.
And and they're your soul identity cards. And that's what you were inspired to create, or it came through for you, that then you then released in 2020. Amazing. And that's a really great lesson in trust too, right? Because sometimes we'll get these inspired ideas coming in and we can say, well, who am I to be doing that? Or who am I to be sharing that with anybody? And so many great creations never get seen.
And I agree with that so much.
And the power behind what we bring in through our soul is huge, and we don't bring it in for no reason. Like that's what you're here to do, right?
Yeah. And the interesting part is when you talk to people about, their innate wisdom and their intuitiveness, and they sort of think that it's gifted to some more so than others, but it's actually not. We all have it. It's whether we choose or how much we choose to tap into that infinite wisdom that we have. Our soul's truth. Your soul will not ever lead you astray.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's such a great discussion, because I feel like this year especially, there's so many people, I say waking up, but it's so many people just becoming more aware of their innate power. And, we're all healing wounds. We're all healing lifetimes of wounds where we weren't allowed to speak, or weren't allowed to be seen. We weren't allowed to, God forbid, we created anything like that looked like witchcraft, right?
It's so true.
Oh, so, gosh. We're all healing those wounds. And I feel like, if you can really work with people like yourself to help with the courage to allow yourself to be that you're not just healing your wounds of many lifetimes, but it helps everyone around you to also say, well, okay, they're doing it, I can certainly be braver as well. And it just helps the whole of humanity.
Yes. And the interesting thing that you mentioned before about people having that awareness, I often speak about awareness is key. It is the first key thing to have awareness, but you can have awareness and not acknowledge it and bury it, which is what many of us do. Or you can have awareness to make a note of it, question it, and then create the change. And it's interesting because I just did a little brief video yesterday about awareness, in the sense of I'm reading The Biology of Beliefs by Dr. Bruce
Wonderful.
Lipton. And
Yes.
the first couple of pages, just the first 2 pages I went in, he speaks about awareness. And it's in a cell level. Each individual cell, and we have 50 trillion cells, actually have awareness.
Yeah.
So that's how key awareness is and how powerful we are. So, yeah.
It's fascinating. So fascinating, isn't it? And each of those cells carries so much. And you know, but we can have the awareness to reprogram. And it's definitely a book I'd recommend to everybody. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I'm surprised it took me this long to read it. I followed Dr. Bruce Lipton for years and years.
Yeah.
But obviously now was the time that I was to read the book. And as I said, I got into the first 2 pages and just went, oh my gosh.
Oh, absolutely. I think if anyone's listening and they're like me, life just gets you know, we can just get lazy now, and it's easier to watch a quick 10-minute video than it is to pick up a book. But when you actually do pick up a book, there's so much knowledge in there, and you can mark it and you can write notes and read over something again, I think, which is really good.
And the good thing about it is it's using and activating far more senses, left and right brain, than looking at a screen, reading or watching a movie, doing a Kindle, just turning pages and things like that. And we're losing that in the way things are going with, you know, our digital world. We're tending to lose that. It's great to have all of it. Like, it's not just, you know, let's have books, but we need those books also to keep that activation of all those senses and all those other neural pathways going.
Absolutely. And you're doing that with your cards and your work as well. People have something to hold on to, they have something to see, they have something to focus on, and you know, that really creates that change that they're wanting. I love it.
Thank you.
So you've said a little bit about your 12-month program. Anyone who's listening who is interested in perhaps what that involves, is it a one-on-one or is it a group kind of program?
Well, it's definitely one-on-one in the sense of you receive 2 coaching sessions a month, or actually 3, because there's a card reading in the beginning of each month. And then you have 2 private coaching sessions. But then you also are able to, you know, go into a group and watch the coaching that I do on a Tuesday and things like that. So it's really going through, because we start at the end, at the result we want, and then we go back to the beginning and then start. So of course we do that loop back through, and what you write down in the beginning will be very different when you are at the other end. Like,
funny about that, isn't it?
So different. But it's
I like to remind people who are really struggling with, but I don't know what I want. Like, ultimately, just pick something because it always shifts, because it's the process, it's the journey, not the actual. Well, this is what I want. It's no, because by the time you get there, you've definitely got the feeling of what you wanted in the first place, but it will look totally different.
Yes, and it's normally bigger and better and brighter and nicer than what you thought that you wanted. But in the beginning of the program, the very first thing we start with is, what does soul mean to you? And, you know, what's your perception? How do you feel about that? And you write that out and you go through that process. And then when you rewrite that at the end of the program, big difference. Big difference.
Absolutely. And I can absolutely tell everyone that if you're working with Lorraine, she's so heart-based and kind and caring and compassionate and empathic that you know, you will feel fully supported the whole way.
Most definitely. Oh, most definitely. Always
Yeah,
there to be able
yeah,
to bounce things off. And if there's a hard time, then yes,
yeah,
contact, and
absolutely.
I'll do my best when I can to get back and make sure that, yeah, everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll have in the description, if someone wants to reach out, I've got all of your links there. They can reach out and connect with you on socials and check out what you offer and follow you on social so they can really start connecting in with who you
That would
are.
be
And
lovely.
we've got an event that we're speaking at together
Oh,
next
yes.
April. So that's
I know.
exciting.
That's so exciting. Like, I'm just, wow. You know, when I saw that
Yeah,
you were part of that, I went, yeah, Trish knows.
yeah,
She
it's
knows, yeah, that this
exciting.
is
So
a beautiful event.
I might put that link as well because if you want to come and see Lorraine in person and hear her
And
talk
Trish,
and me and hear some other amazing women, then that would be a great opportunity. But
yeah.
so just in closing, is there any words of advice that um, or just any inspired thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Um, Inspired thoughts, really, or what I would share is, please do not let anyone tell you that you're not good enough or worthy enough or anything like that. There is nothing that determines that beautiful soul that you are, based on the foundation of love and your worth, that there's nothing outside of you that will ever even come close to that infinite worthy soul that you are. So please do not make comparisons to anyone else or anything out there, because no one's had your journey but yourself.
Yeah,
And you are truly an infinite resourceful being.
I love that. Beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful advice and insights there. Thank you. It's been such a joy having you on the podcast, and I know that everyone listening would have had a shift in some way in their courage or their thought process or their awareness. So,
Awareness, very
yeah,
much keen. So
exactly. So it's been
thank you,
amazing.
Trish.
Thank you so much.
This has been an absolutely beautiful experience, and I'm so grateful that you offer this opportunity to be able to have the chat with you and share and connect like this. It's wonderful. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So thank you everybody who is listening or watching on YouTube. All of the details for Lorraine are in the description and you can connect with her. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you for the next Truck Inspires episode. Bye for now.